Hey, and welcome to another episode of Austin Tech Connect. This is the official podcast of the Austin Technology Council. Now, for those of you who listen regularly, the Austin Technology Council, as you know, has been around coming up on 33 years. We're an institutional organization that has been here to help build the ecosystem of Austin. But as we've moved into 2025, it's time to refresh and rebuild, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's why we're appealing to you, everybody in the Austin Tech community. We need to find the next generation of civic-minded leaders who want to help shape the future of Austin. If that's you, if that's your boss, if that's somebody in your company, make sure that you reach out to us at the Austin Technology Council. Now, every single week, I try to bring interesting interviews that gets people thinking. And usually, it's Austin-based companies and their CEOs. But today, we're breaking that a little bit because I recently ran into people from Lowe's. Yes, Lowe's, the home improvement store, and they were telling me all about a brand new proprietary product that they have created in-house that has been piloted in Austin. It just started, I think, March 15th. They rolled it out at 5 Austin stores, and then this week, they're going to take it to their second market, which is California. Once again, Texas trumps California. That's what we like to see going on here in Austin. Just saying. But today we are joined by Josh Shabtai. And Josh is the Senior Director of Spatial Commerce at Lowe's Innovation Labs. And we're going to find out a little bit about what's the difference between Lowe's and Lowe's Innovation Labs. And their product is called the Lowe's Style Studio. So Josh, welcome to Austin Tech Connect.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So Josh, you yourself are not here in Austin, and of course Lowe's isn't based here. So let's start off. Where do you live? Where do you work? And where is Lowe's Innovation Labs based?
Yeah, so Lowe's Home Improvement. We're headquartered in Mooresville, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. So that's where I'm calling in from today. But my heart is with Austin. Yeah.
Well, we love to hear that. So yeah. Let's hear a little bit about your career. How did you get into this role as Senior Director of Spatial Commerce? And then I'll have to ask you what that even means.
Yeah, no problem. So my background, my career is sort of like the island of misfit toys. So my homeroom
I want to be a dentist. Yeah, I remember. I remember the island of, I'm old enough to remember the island of misfit toys.
Yeah, I'm more like a Yeti. It was a hodgepodge of marketing communications. I was a creative director in advertising, and then video game design. In the, I guess, say 2010 through about 2016, I was building augmented reality games with a team. I developed the first augmented reality Star Wars game, started building connected toys that we licensed to Hasbro. I was doing a ton of different things. And what I will say, what brought me to Lowe's, so again, probably can't tell by looking at me, but I'm kind of a nerd. I'm kind of into video games.
We got that by the basic there of your description, but keep going, man.
Exactly. Ooh, oh boy. And I did get to a point where, I was working. I think most of the folks on the call are familiar. How hard it is when you're in startup in a startup life. I was working 80 to 90 hours a week, and I wanted to move from entertainment to something a little more impactful. And actually, Lowe's, I was fascinated by it. We serve millions of people every week. We serve them in like the most intimate environment in their lives, their homes. This is where they take care of their families. And then in many cases, Lowe's also serves pro customers. So we're the engine for small business. And I got pretty excited to see how I could turn, my love and all the experience I'd had in building these spatial computing experiences, for augmented reality into something that could actually, help improve people's jobs, improve the way they take care of their homes. So here I am.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about the mission of Lowe's Innovation Labs.
Okay. So, on a larger scale, Lowe's, our mission is we fulfill our customers' dreams. We solve problems for their homes. At Lowe's Innovation Labs, we're really oriented around how our future and emerging technologies going to completely alter and upend how people do that. And so we have a variety of different folks. I'm going to keep using the island of misfit toys analogy, but we have a great deal of technical talent. We have ex-startup founders. We have product managers. We have artists. And they work on different technologies, ranging from various forms of artificial intelligence to, the spatial computing stuff we're working on. We've even dabbled with alternative construction methodologies in the past and things like that, all to figure out how we can, keep helping our customers do those things and help our associates.
Nice. So let's talk a little bit about this product. I found it to be quite interesting, and I think it's great that Austin was the launch place for this. So this Lowe's Style Studios, and I know you're running it on the Apple Vision Pro sort of headset type thing, but you invented all the technology, all of the app itself in-house, which reminds me that, and I said it before, all companies are now technology companies. We don't think about it a lot, but companies like Lowe's here in Austin, the whole innovation for John Deere, their innovation team is here in Austin. And a lot of people don't think of companies like that are more traditional, in your case, big box type stores, that they're developing their own proprietary technology that's helping serve both internally and also serving their clients. So let's talk a little bit about this product.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's nothing better, in my opinion, than subverting expectations. And so when you tell someone you work at Lowe's and you're building, new tools to reimagine how you 3D scan a room and blah, 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 it's great. It blows people's minds. So in this case, when I'll talk, there's a real customer problem. I don't know if have you ever remodeled a kitchen or remodeled a bathroom or anything?
We did what they call a minor, a refresh on our bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did it take? Was it complicated?
Yeah, and we literally moved nothing. We literally just replaced countertops and a few other things. Yeah, it was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, so it firsthand. I mean, I think all of us, I'm actually dealing with it right now. It is funny when you work on this stuff and then you're like, oh, in real life, it is just as painful as what I'm designing for. It's super complex. It's not so, redoing your kitchen or redoing your bathroom, it's not only complicated, it's costly. It's you're buying a lot of different things. You are in many cases breaking walls, you're doing stuff. It's a very hard type of project to imagine and to visualize in advance. And so for a few years now, we've been looking at the potential of these technologies that incorporate advanced 3D graphics, advanced spatial awareness of the space you're in, to see if we can take a little of the sting out of that initial visualization process. It's funny, early on, I mean, this is 8 years ago, maybe, we were testing an early VR headset, and a couple came into one of our stores and they were seeing their bathroom together. And one actually was like, oh my God, I finally understand what you've been saying all along. We're like, this technology saves marriages. It's unbelievable, right? So anyway, you flash forward to now. I mean, we've been exploring this technology because we think there's great potential to take a lot of the complexity out of it. I guess it was February of last year, Apple launched the Vision Pro, really an advanced headset that basically brings digital content into your real world. So you can literally have this thing on, you see your entire living space, and then you can start to drop in virtual elements and all that. And it's a really intuitive device. So we were really intrigued and thought, man, we could make something that enables people to imagine their dream kitchen and start getting ahead of it. So we built it. And in building it, we also not only were thinking about our customers, but we're thinking about how do the designers, we have world-class designers at Lowe's, they work in our stores. You can visit them in Bee Cave and Marble Falls, a variety of our other Austin area stores. How do we build tools that make them have a better conversation and really help lead their customers? And so we actually built two apps in one, this amazing Vision Pro app and then an iPad companion app that lets them have this beautiful multiplayer experience. And so we brought it to Austin, like you said, March 15th. We're piloting it. It's been the first market that we're piloting this tech at any scale, and it's been amazing.
So what is the Austin market saying, the people who are going in and trying this? What's some of the feedback that's coming in?
Oh, yeah. So far, we've seen really positive responses. One of the things that's been interesting is a very small percentage of the people who have come in had any pre-existing virtual reality experience. That is really interesting. So this is a net new experience for anybody. And folks are coming out. I mean, we've seen some. We had another one, I think it was in Central Austin, where a couple, what do you know, had very different perspectives on a countertop, actually came to agreement and bought something totally different because they saw it in the experience. A lot of positive feedback. Yeah, it's cool.
So what was really behind sort of that cause that said, we're going to do this and we're going to invest? Because obviously this has to be a big investment for Lowe's to create it, get it going, and then just to roll it out across the country. What was the real motivation behind Lowe's saying, hey, we're going to do this?
Yeah. Well, I will say this, and it's so funny because there's this part of my brain, again, as a former video game guy, all that, and as a former marketer, it's always about big ideas, like big crazy things. The other side of my personality is very cost conscious and very conservative. You tell I was a founder who was always concerned about blowing through our budget. So I just want to say we're very precious and sensitive to keeping our costs in line. I just like to let everybody know that. But what I'll say is kitchens are $1 billion business, and these complex projects are a huge part of home improvement. So, and they're like the common cold, like sometimes it's like, hey, we have all this technology, but the common cold's still here. The process by which people go through complex projects and remodels hasn't changed much in decades. And we have all this great technology. And so our executives are, again, you said more companies are becoming tech companies. They're very forward thinking. And ours have really pushed us to discover new ways to just completely reinvent this process. So it wasn't difficult, I think, for them to encourage us to go here.
So if people are interested in trying the product, what do they need to do? Do they need to bring pictures? How does the whole thing work for like if my wife and I were like, okay, it's time for the kitchen, let's go to Lowe's. What do we do next? How does it work?
No, that's perfect. So let's say you're at the beginning of your kitchen journey and you're like, I just need to understand what I'm getting myself into, what we're getting ourselves into. So in our 5 stores in Austin, so there's a Central Austin, Southwest, Northwest, Bee Cave, and Marble Falls.
I live right down the street from Southwest. I know it well.
Oh, awesome. Oh, we'll go in. Miles Knoll, he's one of our amazing sales specialists there. He's killer. So you can do this one of 2 ways. We ask people to set up appointments because we really want to make it a special experience for you. Honestly, the easiest way to get there, if you're in the Austin market and you Google kitchen visualizer at Lowe's, your top search result's going to take you to a booking page that tells you everything you need to know. But I will also say, if you're in the store, we've got signage and QR codes. You can just sign up. And we've actually done quite a few walk-in appointments where people are there. So you can do that. Now, I will say, the more you bring to the table, the more photos of what you like and you got, the better. But we made Lowe Style Studio an experience you don't need to bring any of that stuff. You come in. It's effectively giving you this infinite showroom that you can control. If you're familiar with the way Apple Vision Pro works, everything's controlled by your eyes and like light hand gestures. It's wild. You feel like a magician, or like Neo in The Matrix or something like that, or Tom Cruise in Minority Report. Anyway.
So you show up and then how does it happen? If I show up without pictures and without measurements, what am I doing? How does it work?
Well, you're having a conversation with our designer, right? And so you're going to come in, and actually what we start the experience is we're trying to help you understand what your personal style and even how to describe it. You find a lot of people don't even have the vocabulary to sort of say, what is it that I want? And so, man, I wish it's funny explaining this on a podcast because it's like
audio.
You really want to experience it.
Audio only, yeah.
I'm like, let me tell you what chocolate tastes like. So it starts off, and I'm really proud of my team for this. So it starts off, a magical portal, once you're in the headset, appears in front of you. And every side of this portal, it spins around, it's a cube. Every side of it is like an Alice in Wonderland style portal into another style family. And it's really crazy. If you lean your head in, I might have just taken me off mic for a minute as I lean my head in. You're almost like crawling into a new world. And each one says, hey, I like modern, I like transitional, I like traditional. You then dive in. And again, you've got your designer sitting next to you from Lowe's as your sort of co-pilot and your companion. And they ask you, what do you like? What do you not? And you start, I don't even know how to explain it. You need to experience it. It's a playground where you can just quickly audition all kinds of things. And at any point, if you're like, oh my goodness, this is the kitchen I want, you save it. You can print it as a style board, or you can save it to a Lowe's, your Lowe's.com account, and you can shop it later.
Fascinating. So as we look at this sort of technologies that are happening and everything else, you having sort of a design background and being a founder, what advice have you learned going from that sort of designer, entrepreneur to working for a big company? What's the message for companies when it comes to getting creative, getting out of the box and doing things like Lowe's Innovation Labs does? What does the up and coming smaller company need to learn from Lowe's?
That is a good question. So you're actually asking, so what is smaller, not what other big corporates need to learn. I think at the end of the day, I mean, one of the things that hasn't changed is, a laser focus on product market fit. That has not changed. I mean, I think if anything, being at Lowe's and working at the scale that we have has made me even more sensitive to how quickly can we adapt this, fun, wild, emerging technology vision to something that people really want. Candidly, like my team, every day we look at what we're doing and just ask ourselves, is there a pivot we need to make? I don't know if that's advice that most founders don't already have in their DNA. That's one piece. I mean, one of the other things I will say is we've invested heavily in complementing our business talent and our artistic talent with engineering talent that really specializes in a few of these core technologies. And really having a super capable technological or tech founder, why am I saying technological? It's key. I mean, it really is key to everything.
So that brings up an interesting question. When we're looking at sort of a more traditional retail business, when they start hiring people who are doing this type of high-level tech design, what does the traditional business have to be aware of when they're hiring in all this sort of scrappy tech talent?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's interesting, I'd say my background, you're actually making me realize something. I don't know if I've ever articulated this. I think what I've developed over the years, and I've had a background, in my startup life, I did spend a bit of time working with bigger companies, bigger corporations. I've also spent a lot of time working with very specialized engineers and 3D artists and things like that. I think I've evolved to become a translator between the two worlds. And I will say, maybe that's an essential role, maybe an essential skill set, in the age of large language models and everyone's saying, oh, AI can do all these different things. What's the human piece of it? I do think maybe focusing on your ability to translate between the two sides is a really important one. I will say, one of the things we've done a bit, we've hired a number of technologists and artists from AAA video gaming studios. Mm-hmm. And that's been interesting on a few levels. I think number one, in the video game industry, you have people working really hard, working with incredible passion, but who can get burned out because you end up, these are massive, massive machines. And so you actually end up getting a number of people who want to move into something a little more tactile, That's one. But they also have experience working with the demands in a corporate environment. That's been really helpful for us.
So you guys picked Austin. I mean, the United States is a big place, right? So there's a lot of cities, small, medium, and large cities. Why Austin as the initial test market?
Yeah. So, I mean, a number of things here. I mean, I don't need to say it. I think for your audience has been living it. I mean, the explosive growth. I think, when we're picking test markets, we are trying to find places that are representative of a lot of the different populations we are going to serve across the U.S. And that goes from a customer standpoint, and it goes from an associates. So I think the explosive growth, there is a lot of interest in kitchen projects. Austin is a great market for that. And so it's a place where we knew we were going to learn a lot. Candidly, having access to a tech market was really important. I think we wanted to be in a place where we'd be likely to find people who are curious to try something new. There may be less resistance. We're also encouraged. Apple has a great campus out in Austin as well. It's great, for us to be near them, and it comes in handy. It's also just a great market. And I will, back to the associates, We have some of the most amazing people working for us, and the folks in our stores are out of control in Austin.
So as we wrap this up, what is something that we didn't cover that when we really think about what you're doing in the Lowe's Innovation Labs or what you're doing with this project, what's something you wish everybody knew that they could take with them?
Well, you already kind of called out every company is a tech company. And I do just want to reinforce, I think some of the things that Lowe's is doing across the board, we have some really interesting things happening in the generative AI space. There's a new assistant called Milo. I would encourage everyone to check it out. And honestly, send feedback when you find something you want to change, all that. I think just one last thing. I mean, going back to the Lowe's Style Studio experience, for anyone out there, I really do want to get your feedback. And honestly, members of our team keep coming out to the market. And so there may even be times you'll see one of us and give the feedback directly. Whether or not you have a full kitchen to do, or you're like, I just want to do my cabinets or see an appliance, we can also do that. So come in for any reason. It's free also. I'd love to get you out there.
Nice. Well, I'm really passionate about this idea that all companies are tech companies. I love it to see when companies we wouldn't be thinking of developing proprietary tech are really right in the thick of it, like Lowe's is. And we love it when we see big national companies choosing Austin as a test market or a site or something else like that. Because here at the Austin Technology Council, we're still very bullish on Austin. We think the best days are still ahead. So, Josh, thanks for being a guest here on the show and sharing with us. I don't think a lot of people who listened probably were aware of any of this, and that's what we try to do is just open up a few new windows for people.
No, I love it. Thank you. And also say one last plug at Lowe's Innovation Labs, we do look for external partners. And so if there are tech companies in Austin that are looking for advice, I mean, even you want to hear about the experience firsthand, reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we're totally happy and excited to talk to y'all.
Well, Austin has a growing property tech or prop tech vertical happening here. There's a lot of startups and a lot of companies that are really looking at real estate across the board, from development to remodeling to everything that touches real estate. So Austin's becoming one of those hubs. So hopefully somebody's listening who will be like, hey, I never thought I'd talk to Lowe's, and they'll reach out to you. If somebody wants to talk to you, how can they find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. You know what? I'm okay with just throwing it out there. Joshua.Shabtai@Lowe's.com.
Nice. There you go. Joshua.Shabtai@Lowe's.com. If this resonated with you, send him a note. Let him know what you thought. And again, thank you for being on the show. And thank you to everybody who tuned in and listened. I say it every week. If it wasn't for the audience, why would we be doing this podcast? But here's the deal. The Austin Technology Council, we can't do this alone. We are a grassroots organization, and we need to be supported by the grassroots. We need companies who are willing to sponsor us and join us and support our different events that we do. If that's your company, please reach out and let us know. And we'll catch you back here for another episode of Austin Tech Connect.